Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video review for The Walking Dead Volume 5 trade paperback, The Best Defense. So let's take a quick look at the cover for it. I always thought that this zombie right here, this guy is pretty funny. Look at the design of this zombie. I don't know. Something about him just makes me laugh. Okay, so the main themes of this trade paperback. This will contain spoilers, by the way, for anyone who hasn't been, watching my Walking Dead trade paperback one at a time reviews. Will contain spoilers and will provide a summary for those of you who do not read the comic books, so you can just get an idea of the story and the important parts of it in comparison to the television series. Yeah, so pretty much the general direction that the comic book series takes in this trade paperback, which collects issues 25 to 30, is that it introduces the governor to Rick's group and to not the rest of the characters, but to Michonne and Rick and actually I think Glenn. Yeah, just the three of them. But it also, of course, introduces us to them as well. We start off and pretty much they find some new weaponry, as you can see there at the top right inside the prison. And they find some riot gear at the top left there. You can see Glenn with some riot gear type of armor protection stuff. And after that, pretty quickly we see a helicopter go overhead right here. You can see them kind of looking up. Helicopter. Oh. Flying overhead. And this is like the second time the helicopter's been used to get them into trouble, to get Rick into trouble. They see it go down, so they kind of leave and try to figure out what's going on. Glenn, Rick, and Michonne leave. And when they get there, they realize that the person who was in the helicopter has been taken. There's a bunch of footprints around. And so they decide that they're going to find out exactly what happened with it and where the person who was flying it is, because they're not there and there's no body or anything. So they kind of figure out that the person's probably in Woodbury based on the sign they see, and they go ahead and head over there, and they find the governor's group. Yeah, and we get the first appearance of the governor right here, walking out with two of his henchmen, and what ensues afterwards. Major spoilers for those of you guys who haven't read it. Pretty much Rick asks them what they're doing, and the governor. This is a pretty cool shot right here. Says, "Well, stranger, we're feeding them strangers." Or Rick asks them what they're feeding them, the walkers, and so that's pretty much it. They make them fight in this like arena type thing. You've got guy over here who's ready to fight, and then another guy, and they go at it. And so that's pretty cool. But of course, the most exciting part of the whole trade paperback, and one of the most surprising parts of the entire comic book series, is when Rick sort of acts up against the governor, and right here you can see the thwack, and he gets his hand cut off there. There it is. That's a good shot. You can see there. And that to me was like, when I read that, man, that was one of the most like craziest things I'd ever seen in any series before, because you have the protagonist who in almost any series is pretty much safe. You're not going to see the protagonist in many comic book series get dismembered, have their hand cut off or something. And I mean, to make matters worse, this is right hand. So, I mean, it's just awful. And then, what ensues afterwards, they're held captive. Michonne is tortured, basically. And at the end here, Rick wakes up. I'll show you. This is a cool shot here, too. Some great artwork in this issue as well. Here's another really good shot here. Rick waking up, and he just, sees the stump there, and he's got this look on his face of like confusion and hopelessness at the same time. Man, so crazy. And then here is a shot of Michonne, and man, Jesus. So Yeah, I mean, this is one of the more exciting issues of The Walking Dead, I think there is. We also get a little bit of backstory on the governor, too, kind of learning about what he's about. You've got his little zombie daughter there, and he smacks her, gives her a backhand, and just a lot of craziness that happens in this issue. This is one of the weirdest parts ever, is that we get to see sort of like inside the governor's like home or apartment type thing. You can see here he's sitting there and he's watching zombie heads in aquariums, and he says, "Sigh, 57 channels and nothing on." It's just so weird. And at the bottom, you see like all the artwork with the heads just floating around and all that. Man, so bizarre, so bizarre. So that's that. Let's see. And at the end of the issue, or the trade paperback, he lets Glenn go. Glenn heads back to the prison and terrified out of his mind, of course. And then, to cap it all off, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. And then Tyrese decides he's gonna, go after him and all that, and gets him back in safely. So again, this is a really good set of 5 issues. Really cool volume. I think that this is absolutely necessary to anyone who wants to really know a lot about Philip's character, the governor's character, and what happens with him. Of course, you have Rick, where he gets his hand cut off in this trade paperback. So this one is absolutely instrumental. It's pretty much a must-read if you want to know the whole story of The Walking Dead as you read through the comic book series. And those of you who might be just picking it up and you're kind of wondering, well, why does Rick not have a hand? Well, this is where it happened. And man, I got to tell you, it was one of the most shocking moments in any story I've ever read when that happened. I was like, well, I was blown away. I had no idea that was going to happen, and I had no clue. I never thought it would, and then it did, and I was like, wow, this is just, man, just absolutely crazy. So in terms of a score, I'm going to give The Walking Dead Volume 5 the best defense. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 because I think it's pretty much perfect. It's a good introduction to the Woodbury group. It's got the shock factor and just the crazy things that happened to Rick and Michonne and Glenn. And it's one of the most exciting trade paperbacks I think I've ever read. I mean, just wanting to know what happens next, during this time was when I first read this through, and I had to work like the next day or something, and I only had like maybe 7 hours, so I had to start my shift. And after reading this one, I couldn't help but read the next one, and it went on like that. And then I only slept for like 3 or 4 hours, and I was exhausted for sleep, but I did not regret it one bit because I mean the Governor overall story arc in The Walking Dead is probably the most exciting there is so far, just overall, in my opinion anyway. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one later. Peace.